General of Police Usman Al-Qadi Baba disclosed this to State House reporters on Tuesday while fielding questions after a security meeting at the Presidential Villa in Abuja.
Abreast the CNC on the current happening in the northwest and north central, with respect of the improvement and problems and any other thing associated with insurgency, banditry, kidnapping, and the rest of it. From the meeting, we believe that the state in which these things are happening in Zamfara State and North Central is a source of concern to the government and to all agencies that are responsible for the execution of the operations in the North Central.
The President has also observed and make a reaffirming remark that the constitutional responsibility of government is the provision of security is one and is foremost, and he is ready to provide such. We should reinvigorate our efforts, which are yielding results in the northeast, southeast, but there is more things to be done in the north central, northwest, where people are worried, and he has intelligence and information that school children and students are abducted, selective abductions and killings are done. This narrative must change. We have assured him and promised him that we'll make effort to do more.
Kaduna government has said it has no plan to shut down telecommunication services in the state. This is contained in a statement issued on Tuesday in Kaduna by Muyiwa Adekeke, Special Advisor to the Governor on Media and Communication. This is coming at the time about 18 people are kidnapped in Keke, a community in Chikun local government area of Kaduna State. Gunmen were said to have invaded the community around 12 midnight. Now, Trust TV correspondent Fatima Laden gives us an update from Kaduna.
It is another abduction in Kaduna State, this time around in Hayinkeke community, a village in Chukuluku government area of the state. It is just 10 kilometers away from the heart of Kaduna State, where about 15 people were said to have been kidnapped yesterday night. According to an eyewitness, who is also a resident of the village, who confirmed the incident to me. He said he was on his way home where he had shooting sporadically and was advised to stay back. He said the gunmen came in large numbers shooting sporadically, and the attack lasted for about 2 hours. As at the time of the happenings, they tried to get the help of security agencies, but to no avail. This is the first attack since the measures taken by Kaduna State government on banning of weekly markets in some local government areas across the state, and also the banning of transportation of livestock from Kaduna State to other states, and also from other states into the state, and also the banning of felling of trees for charcoal, timber, and other commercial purposes. These measures were taken by the state government in order to curtail the menace, because it is no news that Kaduna State has been faced with a lot of banditry attack and security challenges for over the years now.
Now, Yahuza, the Executive Secretary, National Institute of Cultural Orientation, NICO, says the federal government has recorded some progress in its efforts to tackle insecurity in the country. Yahuza said this in an interview in Abuja. According to him, bandits and Boko Haram insurgents are surrendering largely due to government's provision of weapons for the security agencies.
And it is just because of the firepower of the army. At one time in this country, the army personnel used to throw their guns and run away. But today, look at what is happening. It's the other way around. So I think gradually the government is is reaching the promised land. And what government is doing is what we are doing in NACO, because we are a government agency and government fund our programs, so we are trying our best. I think, apart from us, we have other institutions. Government is funding, and the government is also doing a lot in terms of rehabilitation, in terms of building houses, in terms of providing jobs, because so many other youth, inclined programs that the government is doing in terms of, trying to douse tension. Of recent, just yesterday, I think Mr. President launched what they call, something PELOS. I think it has to do with skill acquisition, learning, and all that. That you don't think you must go and get white-collar job. Go and learn skill.
Plateau State Governor Simon Lalong has relaxed the curfew in Jos North local government. This is contained in a statement issued by Lalong's Director of Press and Public Affairs, Dr. Makut Macham, in Jos. Lalong said the curfew in Jos North is now to be enforced from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. with effect from Wednesday. He said that the curfew was reviewed following the State Security Council meeting at Government House in Jos over the recent attacks in the state. The governor said the curfew in Jos South and Bassa local government areas remained from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. The governor also relaxed the total ban on operations of tricycles. He thanked all stakeholders within and outside the state for their show of concern over recent attacks in Plateau and people of Plateau State for their cooperation in complying to its directives, while urging them to continue to support government in restoring normalcy to the state. He assured that his administration would continue to pursue the path of peaceful coexistence. Now, detained leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, has dragged the federal government of Nigeria to an Abia State High Court over what he described as violations of his human rights. The federal government, the Nigerian Army, the Department of State Service, and the Nigeria Police are respondents in the suit. Kanu, in an 8-point prayer, is seeking enforcement of his fundamental rights and wants the court to, among other things, halt his trial currently in motion at the Federal High Court in Abuja. His special counsel, Aloy Adimako, said in a statement on Tuesday, Kanu has secured an order from the High Court of Abia State to serve by substituted means an application for enforcement of the fundamental rights of Kanu, which he recently brought before the High Court of Abia State. He also asked the court to mandate the respondents to pay the sum of 500 billion naira for the physical, mental, emotional, psychological, and other damages suffered as claimed by the applicant. The next hearing date is set for September 21st in Umuahia. Brigadier General Shoaib Ibrahim, Director General National Youth Service Corps, has threatened to apply sanctions according to the NYSC bylaws on recalcitrant corps members. Ibrahim said this on Tuesday during the swearing-in ceremony of the 2021 Batch B set of corps members in the NYSC FCT Orientation Camp Kubwa in Abuja. Ibrahim, who was represented by Suleiman Abdul, the NYSC FCT coordinator, charged corps members to always be guided by the oath of allegiance they have sworn by always obeying the law.
The exercise. You must comply strictly with all camp rules and regulations and be obedient to your course officials. For the avoidance of doubt, we shall apply appropriate sanctions on recalcitrant corps members in line with the provisions of the NYSC bylaws. The oath of allegiance, which you have just taken today, is solemn. I implore you to always find time to meditate over its spirits and letters and be guided by same throughout the service year and beyond. Happily, the federal government and other stakeholders are leaving no stone unturned in the efforts to address this challenge, as clearly demonstrated through various policies and programs.
Elsewhere, Governing Council of the Obafemi Awolowo University Ile-Ife has sacked another lecturer of the institution who was found guilty of sexual harassment against a female student. This is said in a statement issued on Tuesday by the Public Relations Officer of the university, Abiodun Olariwaju. According to Olariwaju, the decision to dismiss Adebayo Mosobolaja of the Department of English Language in the Faculty of Arts was taken by the University Council at its last sitting on Monday. September 6th, the dismissal comes years after the institution sacked a professor of management accounting, Richard Akindele, over sexual harassment 2 weeks ago. The university management formally inaugurated an anti-sexual harassment policy. You're watching Trust TV News Update, coming up after the break. Drug test for intending couples. This and more after the break. Stay with us.
Get latest updates on current topical issues and breaking news by downloading the Trust TV mobile app on your Android devices. Go online, click Google Play Store, search Trust TV, install the app, and get doses of unfiltered information on happenings all over the world in your pocket. Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Nice to see you, sir. You got a 10-year-old son, a 12-year-old son. He's a shill boy. Yeah. And how did he get to that stage? You allowed it to happen. You allowed it to fester. It's like a cancer.
It's a failure of the family, a failure of the society, and a failure of governance.
We are still going into some other hideouts to see if any apprehensions will be made tonight.
To operate within the context of the law with much respect to human rights.
You get them?
Welcome back. Thank you so much for staying with us. You're still watching Trust TV News Update. Our top stories. President Muhammadu Buhari has tasked heads of security agencies to end selective abductions and killings in the North, Central and Northwest. And Plateau State Governor Simon Lalong has relaxed the curfew in Jos North local government area. Still ahead, Nigeria Center for Disease Control (NCDC) says Nigeria's COVID-19 cases have risen to 196,487 on Tuesday, with 597 new infections. The NCDC stated this via its verified website on Wednesday morning. It said that the nation's total infections since the index case in 2020, attributing the surge of the third wave to the highly transmissible Delta variant and low vaccination rates across the country. The Public Health Agency also announced that 17 additional COVID-19 related deaths reported on Tuesday increased the country's fatality figure to 2,573. The NCDC reported that the new infections were reported from 13 states and the FCT. The NCDC further said 277 COVID-19 patients recovered isolation centers in the country. Federal government says it will soon commence construction of modern toilets with boreholes and solar-powered pumps as part of efforts to contain the cholera outbreak in the FCT. The Minister of State for Environment, Chief Sharon Ekezo, disclosed this on Monday in Abuja while inaugurating the National Environmental Sanitation Response to the cholera outbreak in Nigeria.
Nigeria is currently experiencing cholera outbreak in several parts of the country, with reported cases of fatalities. It is against this background that today's event is organized to flag off our elevated response activities to the increasing rate of spread of cholera cases across the country. Sensitize the general public on cholera preventive and control measures to avert further outbreaks. CDC and other stakeholders in tackling the scourge.
State and LGAs to operationalize the cholera emergency operation centers, which is a multi-sectoral collaboration. It's not just UNICEF, but we work with all partners to ensure at least we have the emergency operation center to coordinate this.
It is a thing of joy to us in Buhari today to see this kind of program being organized in Buhari Area Council. Days past, we thought that government have never known that there is a place like this due to the pressure and the situation we found ourselves in Buhari Area Council, particularly here in Bazango. Not knowing that the Minister of Federal Capital Territory, he is seeing us, he's remembering us. And here, they have come together with the Honorable Minister of Environmental to make sure that the situation that we are into, the challenges that we are into in terms of cholera outbreak have come to an end. We want to say thank you.
Minister of Labour and Employment Chris Ngige has said that contrary to what he described as propaganda by the striking members of the National Association of Resident Doctors, no doctor or health worker in Nigeria is owed their monthly salary. The minister said this on Tuesday at the opening of the meeting of the Presidential Committee on Salaries with the leadership of the Joint Health Sector Union in Abuja. The minister said the propaganda machine of the association is changing the reality of the federal government's efforts to reposition the health sector. Ngige referred to the presidential waiver for employment into the Critical Health and Defense Ministry in view of the general embargo on employment and assured that doctors illegally recruited would have their service regularized in due course. As part of efforts in the fight on drug abuse, Chief Executive of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, Buba Marwa, says premarital drug tests for intending couples will be conducted. Trust TV's Mardia Umar speaks to some people on the desirability of the test or otherwise.
It's quite unfortunate that many youths in the country are involved in the use of illicit drugs. Many marital problems like domestic violence and the crashing of marriages are largely attributed to the use of drugs, prompting the National Drugs Law Enforcement Agency to suggest a compulsory premarital test. Will this law go a long way to prevent marriages hitting the rock or to stop the high rate of drug abuse among youths in Nigeria?
I see it as a very welcoming idea because it has to do with the mindset and the psychological issue. Sometimes some people can act subconsciously because of the effect of that substance or that drugs that they have taken. Then I think it's also good because there's this popular saying that says something that you know will not kill you. So by the time that the intended couple gets to understand that, oh, this is a challenge my husband or my intended husband or the wife have, then they can be able to work together and see a therapy for counseling.
I feel it's a good thing. It's not entirely bad. It's another way to ensure that people's lives are safe and people are not just making any rash decisions. But also, is it something that can be sustained? Because there's a possibility that if you're not using drugs before marriage, you could start using drugs after marriage. So the reason behind the compulsory testing might not be entirely justified.
I feel it's a nice idea because most people who get married to drug addicts have no idea initially. They have no idea that probably their spouse or partner is addicted to drug. But I think a compulsory drug test would be a nice idea, just like we have HIV test and pregnancy test. A drug test will at least can reveal the shocker before it's too late.
In a telephone interview with the spokesperson of NDLEA, Femi Babafemi speaks about the importance of the test.
It's important and it is the interests of the would-be couples. It's important because from our experiences, from our findings, quite a number of people, especially young adults these days, get into marriage and only to discover that quite a number of things happen within their homes, whether the husband or the wife begins to be violent, and such violence are most likely induced by drugs. And what we're saying is this: we don't want a situation where people will get married only to kill themselves in their homes, or to discover after the marriage or after the wedding that the other partner is a drug addict.
The fact that illicit drug use is linked with different forms of violence in marriages and among the youths. The NDLEA is intensifying efforts in ridding the society of this menace. Martia Omar, Trust TV News, Abuja.
A group, North Central Renaissance, wants the president to emerge from the geopolitical zone in 2023 election. The group, during a press conference in Abuja, appealed to the Nigerian voters to support the dream of producing first president from the North Central region. Our correspondent Gaza Yakubu reports.
At a World Press Conference to mark the end of the Medin Congress of the North Central Renaissance Movement, chairperson of the group, Dr. Ngargu Ketso, noted that the North Central has been politically excluded from producing the highest office in the nation.
Haven't been deprived the opportunity to render stewardship at the level of president and vice president now since the advent of democratic rule. This is the essence of our gathering. And of course, to chart the way forward in how we pursue this goal until it is gotten, and our deadline is 2023.
The chairperson, who expressed confidence in producing a qualified candidate for the country, said observation has shown that the North Central has the required criteria to produce a president.
Because we've seen the records of what people refer to as the best that came and ruled us from other parts of the country. They were just former senators, former vice presidents, and former presidents. We still have them in the North Central. But I believe North Central will offer more. I've just described our real ability to manage diversity. It will be an asset in our quest for national unity, harmony, and peace. And so, when we achieve unity, harmony, and peace, prosperity follows naturally. We are not very developed. We need to do more.
The conference was attended by delegates from the North Central, including the FCT, and advocated for support from Nigerians, considering that the zone had never produced a civilian president or vice president since democratic rule. Gaza Yakubu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
And on the international scene, at least 41 prisoners have died and dozens more have been injured by a fire which tore through an overcrowded jail in Indonesia. Authorities are still investigating at Block C of Tangerang Prison on the outskirts of Jakarta, designated for drug offenders, said Rika Aprianti, spokesperson for the Corrections Department at the Justice Ministry. Hundreds of police and soldiers were deployed to take control of Tangerang Prison, which was designed to house 225 inmates but has more than 2,000. Ms. Aspiranti said that the fire has since been extinguished and all victims have been evacuated to a hospital. Now, a 7.1 magnitude earthquake hit the southern Mexican coastal city of Acapulco in Guerrero State on Tuesday night, with tremors felt in Mexico City. Chinese news agency Xinhua reports.
A 7.1 magnitude earthquake hit the southern Mexican coastal city of Acapulco in Guerrero State on Tuesday night, with tremors felt in the Mexican capital, the National Seismological Service, or SSN, has reported. The SSN tweeted that the earthquake occurred at 8:47 p.m. local time 11 kilometers southwest of Acapulco, with a depth of 10 kilometers.
And in sports, coach of FCT Abuja Municipal Area Council under 15 Ifeanyi Uba has expressed confidence in Super Eagles' performance and urged them to beat Central African Republic in their next match. Uba told newsmen that the Super Eagles defeating Cape Verde 2-1 is a great relief. He said that Super Eagles played their World Cup qualifier away match against Cape Verde without any of its English Premier League stars. Cape Verde is one of the countries listed on the UK's COVID-19 red list, and so players in the EFL were barred from travelling to Central African Republic. Super Eagles dominated, but Cape Verde Dylan Tavares scored in the 19th minute. The Super Eagles, however, levelled 10 minutes later when Victor Osimhen scored Nigeria's first goal of the game. He urged the technical crew to turn its attention on Central African Republic game, as Kara will be fighting Nigeria to have a win in their next match. Well, that's it on News Update. For more news, follow us across all our social media platforms. I'm Zainab Bala. Thank you so much for watching.